All right, ready to dive deep into some IT infrastructure today.
Buckle up, we're going global.
We're helping out CK International, those luxury, eco-friendly cleaning products.
I think they're expanding big time into Belgium and Germany.
So their tech needs to catch up.
It does. And we've got the inside scoop, internal documents, technical designs.
Even the project rubric. Imagine that.
It's like we're right there with them every step of the way.
Backstage passes to an IT makeover. All right, so first things first. What's the issue with their current setup? Why can't they just, I don't know, keep doing what they're doing?
Well, imagine a company where every department's speaking a different language, using different tools.
Sounds like a recipe for disaster.
That's pretty much what's going on. Headquarters in the Netherlands has its own systems, and the new offices are doing their own thing. Inconsistencies everywhere.
So no one can share files easily.
Exactly. Collaboration, forget about it, slows everything down.
Not good. So what's the fix?
They're building what's called an on-premise domain. Think of it like a shared digital office building for all their locations.
And that's called?
International.nl. Pretty fitting, right?
Makes sense. So everyone's connected now? But does that mean everyone has access to everything? Like, could someone in Belgium accidentally delete important files from the German office?
Ah, good point. That's where access rights come in.
Like security badges.
Exactly. Each department gets full access to their own location's files, but everything else, well, that's limited.
And the executives, HR.
They've got the master key, of course, big picture and all that.
I see. But what if someone from marketing in Germany needs to check a file from Belgium? Do they have to hop on a plane?
Not quite. They have read-only access to general files from other locations, so they can peek, but no accidental changes or deletions.
Clever. So we've got the digital office building, different access levels. What else is part of this tech makeover?
Well, every office needs a filing cabinet, right?
Yeah, of course.
They're setting up a central file server. That's where all the important documents go.
Accessible from anywhere.
Exactly. No matter where you are, you can get what you need.
Like a giant shared drive in the cloud.
Similar, but it's on their own servers, not the cloud. Hence, on-premise gives them more control.
I see. More control over their data, their security.
Plus, they've built in offline access, so even if someone's on a plane, they can still work.
Smart. But this all sounds really complex. How do they even start tackling a project like this?
Well, lucky for us, we have their project plan, and it's fascinating. They're using something called the Scrum methodology.
Scrum, as in rugby.
Same word, different game. Think of it like breaking down a giant puzzle into smaller pieces.
More manageable chunks,
Yeah.
so they don't get overwhelmed.
Right. They have these short bursts of work called sprints, each with a specific goal. And there are roles within each sprint, like the Scrum Master, keeping everyone on track, and the product owner, making sure they're building the right thing.
Okay, starting to see the pieces come together now. But building this digital office building, that's just half the battle, right? They need to make sure everyone knows how to use it.
Absolutely. That's where things get interesting. Training programs, change management, making sure everyone feels comfortable in this new digital workspace. We'll dive into that next time.
Can't wait. This is already making my head spin. But in a good way. We'll be back to unpack the rest of CK International's IT transformation soon.
Welcome back. We're continuing our deep dive into CK International's IT transformation. Last time, we talked about the challenges they're facing, going global and all, and their plan to unify their digital workspace.
Yeah, like building a virtual office building for their international team. We even touched on how they're using the Scrum methodology to manage this huge project, breaking it down into bite-sized chunks.
Right. But now let's get into the nuts and bolts of it all. What's the tech behind this digital office building?
Yeah, let's get technical.
Okay, remember that on-premise domain we talked about? International.nl. It's the foundation of everything.
Their digital territory, right?
Exactly. They build and control everything on that foundation.
But what does on-premise even mean? Is it hidden somewhere in their headquarters?
Well, not literally. It means they manage their own servers and software.
So they're not using the cloud.
Not for this, no. They want that extra control over their data and security.
Makes sense. Especially with all the sensitive information they're dealing with. Customer data, financials.
Right. It's like their own digital vault. They get to set the rules.
But this domain, it's all a bit abstract. Can you break it down a little more?
Sure. Imagine all the computers in one of their offices, all connected. That's the domain. They can talk to each other, access shared stuff like printers.
And the central file server.
Exactly. All part of the domain. But how do you connect everyone to this domain, especially across different countries?
That's got to be tricky.
It is, which is where Active Directory comes in. It's like a giant digital phone book for their entire system.
Uh,
Manages users, permissions, who gets to see what.
so if I'm a new employee in Belgium, Active Directory gives me the keys to the digital office.
Exactly. It tells you which rooms you can enter, or folders in this case.
So no accidentally stumbling into the finance department's budget files.
Exactly.
Huh.
Keeps things organized, secure, especially with multiple locations.
You mentioned domain controllers last time, too. What do they do?
Ah, yes, the unsung heroes. Think of them as the traffic directors, making sure everything runs smoothly between all the devices in the domain.
So they keep the data flowing.
They do, and CK is using multiple domain controllers for redundancy.
So if one crashes,
The others take over. No system crash, no chaos. Business keeps running smoothly.
smart move.
Yeah,
But what about the central file server itself? That's where all the important stuff lives, right? How do they keep that secure?
they're not messing around with security, that's for sure. They've got firewalls in place, like digital security guards controlling all the traffic.
So only the right people get in.
You got it. And antivirus software running constantly, scanning for threats, like a cleaning crew, wiping out any bugs.
Thorough. But what if something goes wrong? Like a fire in the server room.
That's why they have a backup and disaster recovery plan. Data loss is a nightmare.
Their digital safety net.
Exactly. Backups on-site, off-site, the whole shebang. They can recover quickly no matter what.
It's like you're building a digital fortress.
They are. But even the strongest fortress has a weak point. And often that weak point is us, the humans.
Right, the people using it. All the tech in the world doesn't matter if we don't know what to do with it.
Exactly. And that's what we'll talk about next time, the human side of this whole thing. Training, change management, making sure everyone is comfortable and happy in their new digital workspace.
And we're back for the final part of our deep dive into CK International's IT transformation.
It's been quite a journey, right? From global expansion challenges to building their own on-premise domain. And of course, all those security measures. They're taking data protection seriously.
It's like we've seen the whole construction project, from blueprints to the actual building, their digital office building. But now, it's time to move in, get everyone settled.
Perfect analogy. Because at the end of the day, technology is just a tool. It's the people using it that really matter. And that's what we're focusing on today, the human side of all this.
Exactly, because the fanciest system in the world won't do much if people are confused or frustrated by it.
Right, or resistant to change. So how's CK International handling this? They're not just handing over the keys and saying, figure it out.
So what are they doing?
They've got a whole strategy for training and change management.
Tell me more. How are they making sure employees feel good about using this new system?
They're investing in training programs, big time. And not just any training, it's tailored to different roles and skill levels.
So the marketing team gets a different training than the finance team.
You got it. They also recognize that people learn differently. Some like hands-on stuff, some prefer online tutorials, some might need more one-on-one help. They're offering all sorts of options.
A custom learning journey for each employee. That's impressive.
It is, and it doesn't stop there. What happens if someone forgets how to do something or runs into a problem?
Good point. You can't just train people once and call it a day.
Exactly. So they've got ongoing support systems in place. Help desk, online resources, even peer-to-peer networks.
I like that peer-to-peer.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's easier to learn from someone who's already using the system, right? Someone who's been there, done that.
Totally. And it builds that sense of community. But training's just one piece of the puzzle. Communication is key too. And managing all this change.
Right. It's not just teaching them how to use it. It's about explaining why it's necessary, how it benefits them, and addressing any concerns they might have.
Absolutely. And CK International is on top of it. They're communicating constantly throughout this whole process. Updates, explanations, addressing rumors, real transparency.
Building trust so people feel like they're in the loop and their opinions matter.
Exactly. They're not just talking at employees. They're getting feedback, asking for ideas. It's collaborative.
It really sounds like they're putting people first, which makes sense, right? Because technology is great, but it's the people using it that determine whether it's a success.
100%. By investing in training, communication, change management, CK International is doing more than implementing a new IT system. They're setting their employees up for success in this new digital world.
This has been an amazing deep dive. I feel like I've learned so much about IT infrastructure, security, the importance of people in all of this.
Me too. It really shows that no matter how complicated the tech gets, it's the human element that makes it all work.
Well said. That wraps up our deep dive into CK International's IT transformation. We hope you enjoyed it and learned something along the way.
Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep diving deep.
We'll see you on the next Deep Dive.